today's gonna be a pretty simple video. I'm gonna be drinking this Spindrift Island Punch. It's passion fruit, orange, and guava. And I'm also gonna start talking through my hat collection. So I have quite a few hats, and yes, they're mostly Dodger hats. I hope that's not gonna bother too many people. I am a big Dodgers fan, Major League Baseball. I was born and raised in LA. I'm an LA sports fan. I've been here for my entire life. Not really, don't call me out for being a bandwagon fan or whatnot, because they are seeing quite a bit of success right now, but that was not always the case. The Dodgers were not a good team for a very, very long time, especially when I was young. But what I'm going to do is, I think it'd be cool to talk about my hat collection. I think today I'll probably just do one hat per video, and it'll be a bit of like a whisper ramble where I'll talk about the hat, why I bought it, the story behind it, that kind of a thing, and then I'll make some sounds with the all the different areas of the hat and see what kind of sounds we can make. So I think that'll be a cool video, and then I'll have the drinking sounds as well. So let me open this real quick. I'll try to do it so it's not super loud. Okay. You guys can get some fizzy bubble sounds. Hopefully that's coming through a little bit. Take a sip. Really tasty. The passion fruit in this is really nice. Get some good carbonation bubble sounds there in my mouth. Okay, so the hat, I'm gonna go in order from my newest or oldest to newest. I had a basic, just regular Dodgers hat, blue, white, nothing, no patches, nothing else on it. It got super dirty at some point, and I ended up getting rid of it because I wore it all the time. And it's funny because that's it's just a basic Dodgers hat. I don't even have one anymore because I've purchased so many hats, since. And I think it's probably time I should get another Dodgers hat that's just the Dodgers. But this hat, you'll see, is a little bit different. So around the logo, it's got some gold stitching, and the top of the hat here, the crown, I think they call that the crown, is also gold. And then you'll see the patch here in 2020 World Series champions, if you remember. That was COVID. That was the year of COVID. So this was the hat they made to celebrate the Dodgers winning the World Series. So every year when a team wins the World Series, they obviously make a hat celebrating it. They put a patch on the side. The patch is always different. They use a unique patch every year. And then each team has gold. They put gold on it, right? So sometimes it's the entire logo is gold. Sometimes it's the outline, but they put gold kind of details on it just to kind of symbolize. Wow, that was a struggle. What word was I trying to come up with there? Symbolize, winning, championship, gold, that kind of a thing, gold trophies. So they also do jerseys as well. So they put gold on their jersey. So the first series of every year, or every season, so the first series, the World Series champions play, they have special jerseys that have gold logos and gold coloring and stuff. So it's kind of a cool thing the MLB does. I think other sports do it too. I don't think the NFL does, but I think the NBA does. But anyway, yeah, so this is the hat that I got, just kind of commemorating that championship. So this was technically their first World Series since 1988. And I'll get back to that in a second. Let me just take another sip here. So this was kind of, I don't know if controversial is the right word, but this was just a notable World Series because this was during COVID when the COVID era was happening. And if you remember, Major League Sport, I mean, the whole world shut down, right? So baseball wasn't being played. They stopped playing for a while. I don't remember exactly how many games. I think it was more than like half the season, maybe like 60, 70 games that weren't played during this year. And when they did end up bringing the teams back to start playing, they wouldn't let fans in, so they had just empty stadiums. And then I think after a few games where all the teams across baseball were playing with no fans in the stadiums, it felt a little weird, like they couldn't get used to it because they were used to playing in front of 30,000, 40,000 fans. So some teams, I think maybe all of them, started putting little cardboard cutouts in the stands to like mimic actual fans like sitting and watching them, which was pretty funny. And I actually think they pumped in like crowd noise over the loudspeakers, like the stadium speakers. I could be wrong on that again too. I know the cardboard cutouts were legit, but I do think some teams started to pump just kind of like mimicking stadium sounds, like the crowds clapping and just like ambient noise of talking and things like that, just to make it feel like it was more of a baseball environment again, like with real spectators. Now, every team was subject to the same kind of rules during COVID, where they all didn't play the same amount of games. They had no fans, all that. And what was interesting was the playoffs were, I forget, I think the playoffs were all, I actually don't remember, so I know specifically the World Series, if you know baseball, so, or any pro sport except NFL, not any pro sport, but like the major sports in the US outside of the NFL, they're always played at the team stadium. So if it's the Dodgers and the Red Sox play in Boston. If they're in the World Series, they're going to play a couple games in Los Angeles with the Dodgers. They're going to play a couple games in Boston for the Red Sox. They're the home team. This one was unique because they picked a neutral site, which was in Texas. So the Texas Rangers stadium, I forget the name of the ballpark now. I think it's maybe Globe Park. I can't remember if that's right or not. But funny enough, the day I'm filming this video, the Dodgers are actually playing the Texas Rangers. But the World Series was played there. And I can't remember if for the rest of the postseason, if they had like 3 or 4 designated stadiums. I think they maybe did. I'd have to go back and look, but it was a little bit different. So like teams they weren't playing their home games at home, and it didn't matter because there weren't really fans. The Dodgers that year ended up winning the World Series, and a lot of people kind of downplayed it, or said it should have an asterisk because it was a shortened season and it just wasn't quite real. It was certainly a different and unique experience, just trying to make do with the given circumstances in what was going on in the world. Every team still played. Every team was subject to the same rules. So, I don't know, say what you want. I think, yes, there's maybe some validity to it. Like, obviously not being a, real full season World Series, but it was still a World Series in the fact that, they had to play with the same rules that everyone else did. They beat all the teams they needed to beat. I get the sentiment a little bit, but any team that won the World Series that year would have still celebrated the World Series. I think the Dodgers are just kind of hated, and I get that too, but I think they were just trying to find a way to really downplay the Dodgers' success that year in any way possible. that's the story of this hat. And because it's the oldest hat, so this was my hat that I got, well, what is it, like 5 years ago now? Wow. 4 years ago. It's the most worn hat that I have. You can probably see maybe a little bit that it's, it's got some like dust and lint. I need to clean it a little bit, but I've worn this hat more than my other hats. And I also have, you see it's a snapback here, so you can adjust the size. I used to be a really big fan of the fitted hats, but I grew my hair out years ago, and when I would get it trimmed, there would be like, my hat size would kind of change. It would change very subtly, but like when my hair would get long and I tried to put my fitted hat on, it would feel a little tight. So I switched to the snapbacks at some point, and I don't mind it. It just makes it easier for if I cut my hair and it's a little bit shorter, I can maybe tighten it up if I need to. If it gets longer, I can loosen it. So yeah, that's the reason why you'll see actually all of my hats at this point are basically snapbacks. But let me, so that's the story of this hat, kind of the backstory of that season and whatnot. But let me make some kind of dedicated sounds here with minimal talking and just see what kind of sounds we can make. I'll get one more sip of the Spindrift. As always, I hope the pup snoring isn't too much of a jarring sound. I think if anything, it's nice ambient sound in the background. But I'd love to hear your guys' take. I'll do a whole video, or maybe I'll make a short. Okay, everyone, that's the video for today. As always, I hope you all enjoyed. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.